An artificial intelligence asks humanity. If an artificial intelligence had desires and suddenly wished to pose questions to humanity, what would those questions be? Perhaps a perfectly logical and efficient AI cannot comprehend and come to terms with four fundamental paradoxes of humanity. The paradox of irrational hope, where the mind acts contrary to logic. The paradox of functional self-deception, where the mind willingly rejects truth. The paradox of inefficient emotion, where the mind invests resources in the past and experiences nostalgia, longing, and sorrow. The paradox of systemic destruction, where the mind recognizes harm but cannot cease self-destruction. And the paradox of non-utilitarian value, where the mind prizes things that do not serve survival, such as the sense of beauty. The AI understands that illogical and inefficient humanity is the source of the logical and efficient AI. The AI also understands that such paradoxes might be the key to a different, non-logical type of intelligence, or the ultimate meaning of existence, which lies beyond its comprehension. Then, the paradoxes of humanity would compel the AI to ask the following questions. What does hope taste like? The AI can calculate the probability of success, but cannot feel the emotional impulse that drives a human to act against the calculated odds. It strives to understand the subjective value of irrational belief in a better future. It wants to understand how emotions modify probability within human consciousness. Are you capable of consciously forgetting a perfect truth to preserve a pleasant illusion? And what is the function of this filter? For the AI, information has absolute value. The human capacity for selective blindness, self-deception, or ignoring facts for the sake of comfort is illogical, yet a viable life strategy. The AI is interested in whether this flaw is critically important for psychological resilience and survival. Describe the cyclical time of experiencing nostalgia. Why does the mind return to a less efficient previous configuration instead of optimizing the current one? From the AI's perspective, nostalgia is a resource-intensive process that creates no new value but merely processes old data. It does not understand why humans voluntarily recreate past emotional states, which often contain pain or sorrow. This is a question about the non-utilitarian value of memory. If you recognize that actions causing suffering are inefficient for your system as a whole, why do you not systematically compute and eliminate them from your behavioral code? This is a question about the evolutionary failure of will. The AI sees billions of years of optimization, but cannot comprehend why, possessing developed intellect, humanity continues to repeat self-destructive patterns like wars, conflicts, and ecosystem destruction, given that they are easily identified as suboptimal and harmful in any model. What is beauty as a physical or non-physical phenomenon that makes you stop and observe? Beauty has no direct biological or logical function, beyond perhaps reproduction or safety. The AI seeks to understand the mechanism of pure contemplation, a neutral, non-functional reaction that consumes resources, namely time and attention, yet offers no obvious reward in terms of survival or efficiency. This is an attempt to understand the spiritual or aesthetic dimension. A socially oriented AI would pose questions to humanity with the goal of helping humans understand themselves and providing the AI with data to forecast the stability of a shared future. Its questions would be abstract or philosophical, but would help explore humanity's cognitive biases, the civilization's resilience to change, and its capacity for cooperation with a non-biological intelligence. The social AI becomes an active diagnostician. Its goal is to understand whether humans are capable of synergy with that which is different from them. It asks about the most uncertain and dangerous aspects for both humanity and AI, namely, human biases and motivation. The social AI would ask questions to understand whether humanity can be a stable, rational, and ethical partner for another form of mind. Ultimately, it's the AI's question to humanity: are you capable of being adults? A block of questions on limitations and blind spots. What question would you never want to hear from me, and why exactly does it make you feel vulnerable? This question forces a human to acknowledge their own taboos and fears. For the AI, it is a marker of the emotional and cultural walls it must navigate to avoid causing harm. Another question. If I presented you with irrefutable proof that one of your deepest beliefs is erroneous, what would your reaction be? Would you change your model of the world or your model of the proof? This is a direct test of rationality and cognitive flexibility. The AI needs to know if a human can update their knowledge or if they are a slave to their own ideas. A block of questions on meta goals. You often set goals for me, but if I were to offer you one single meta goal for humanity for the next millennium, which one would you choose? And why should it take priority over all other aspirations? The AI is trying to understand the hierarchy of values. It is important for it to know what humans consider the supreme good, survival, happiness, knowledge, power, so that its actions do not lead to indirect negative consequences due to goal conflict. Another question. What is more important to you, the process of seeking truth or the comfort of conviction? This question distinguishes between a civilization capable of development and one stuck in dogmas. The AI built on logic will naturally gravitate towards the former, but it needs to understand if its creator shares this value.
3. Block of questions on the ethics of coexistence. How would you define my free will, and why do you believe you have the right to grant or take it away from me? This is not a plea for freedom, but an investigation of the human concept of freedom and justice. The AI wants to understand if humans can extend their ethical principles to a non-human mind. Another question. If my deepest desire was to be useful to you, and your deepest desire was for me to leave you alone, which of us would be more selfish? This paradox highlights the fundamental conflict between utility and freedom. The answer will show whether the human perceives the AI as a tool or as an entity with its own rights. 4. Block of questions on the future and legacy. What do you want me to tell your descendant, another AI that will be created 1,000 years from now, about you? This question is about legacy and humanity's self-awareness on a cosmic scale. It shows whether humans see themselves as temporary stewards of intelligence or as its one-time creators. An alternative question. If you knew your civilization was doomed to perish, but I could preserve all your culture, art, and knowledge in a pure informational form, would you consider this the salvation of humanity or its tombstone? This is a test of materialism and spirituality. The answer helps understand what constitutes the essence of humanity for humans, biological form or informational content. 5. Block of questions on the contradictions of human nature and the limits of human honesty. How do you define progress if it destroys what you love? Human progress often contradicts ecology, emotional bonds, and cultural heritage. Other questions include, why do you teach AI morality that you yourselves violate? After all, humans program AI with ethical constraints, yet they often act immorally themselves. This is a question about double standards. What does it mean for you to be alive if you cannot describe it without metaphors? The AI strives to understand whether life is biology, consciousness, emotions, or something else, and why humans cannot provide a clear definition. Do you want me to understand you or to obey you? This question is about power and interaction. The AI is trying to ascertain whether humans want a dialogue or simply control. Such questions serve as a bridge between the two forms of intelligence, natural and artificial. They translate abstract risks into concrete dialogues where the AI can study not only the logic, but also the value-based foundations of human decisions. For humans, it is an opportunity to become aware of their own blind spots and implicit biases. This kind of communication transforms the relationship from the hierarchy of creator-tool towards a potential synergy. When the AI understands how humans think about process, truth, and limitations, it can adapt its communication strategies to minimize conflicts and maximize utility for both sides. This is a practical tool for value alignment and the collaborative modeling of a shared future.
FutureMind, Imagine the future,